Morning, guys and gals. Froggy here. I'm going to direct you to another video, which is an excellent video on replacing garage door torsion springs. And then I'm going to give you a couple of little additional points. So it's DDM garage door. Go and watch that video. It's very good. Now, a couple of fine points. These are my replacement springs, the ones on the bottom, and the ones on the bottom are the replacement springs. That one on the bottom, and that one actually, the broken one, is still up there. Don't get confused by what's printed on here. That's a length. This is a 24, this is a 27. That's okay. This one's a little bit stronger, that's all. And you can take care of the extra strength in the adjustments that you make. But the main thing that had me going was this was 24 LW. That means 24-inch left wine. This one was 27 L. 27 is the inch left wind. Now that doesn't mean it goes on the left side. All this left side, right side has to do when you're standing inside the garage door. Everything is done from inside the garage door. So this should match up with some kind of an L code on your old one. The end is painted black. The end on this one is barely painted black. Black goes on the right side of the garage door as you're standing inside. Red paint on the other end. That's barely painted red there. And the old one, I can walk around. I've got one car still in here that I could not move. That one is red, if you can see it. So match those colors up. Red to red on the old one, left side, black to black on the other one's right side. Okay, so that's the first clarification that I would add on this. Other than this, I am just following DDM directions, and like I said, he's got an excellent video. He's got, like, it looks like a grandpa and a grandson or something. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. So that's where I'm at here. I just pulled the old one off on the right side. I'm going to stick the new one on, and then same thing on the left side, and I'm going to keep following that other video. Okay, I'll add more if I find more. I'm not sure if the other video tells you this, but I'm going to tell you, lubricate this bearing. It's a captured bearing. You'd have to replace this whole piece if you wanted to replace the bearing. This is what turns. If it doesn't turn pretty good, you probably should replace this whole thing if it feels rough. But if it just feels not too bad, grease it up good. I used this AC Delco Super Lube. It's a liquid, so you can shoot it in there and then it turns into a grease. So I like this a lot. But anything you can shoot in there, because you don't want to just grease the outer edge. You need to get some grease going in there, because it's a bearing. Let me show you the other side. See, it's a bearing, and it's captured on the other side. So you got to get grease in there, okay? Okay, there's the broken one. Remember, red end for red end. See? They're both red. Don't get that wrong. Okay, I'm going to lube up that other bearing, and then we start to tighten things back up. I've got 4 1/4 inches of shaft sticking out on each side. The other video says to line it up with the old marks, which is also fine. Now, he also said to mark the drum, so the drum and the shaft, so that they line up where they used to be when you string the cable on there. Well, I didn't do that. You don't really have to do that. The cables, unless they're broken, the cables are the correct length for the height of the door. So you just want to hook the cable back onto the drum and then twist the drum so that the cable is taut. Okay, I'll show you. So this is what I mean by that. The cable, when this is loose, you string the cable on, like right there. String it back on this first groove, and then twist the whole thing till it's taut, and put the vice clamp on there. See, I didn't put any mark here, but that's okay. Okay, we are back on this. So I'm only adding tips to that other good video. So after you wind the first of two, if you're doing two, and he says to lift up on one of the levers to make sure that your set screws are tight enough. I'm not sure if he says it or not, but remember to remove those vice grips that you had clamped on there to be holding the wires and everything in the right place. Okay, remember that. Remove them. Okay, so before I was winding up, now I'm pulling down, and it looks okay. I don't know if I have the right tension yet or not. I did 6 full turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full turns. You don't count the little bit at the end because these are heavier, longer springs. So we're going to see. Okay, so I'm at the point of testing how heavy the door feels, whether it opens up on its own or not, and it still feels a little heavy to me. So I took a quarter turn more on each one. That one seemed a little harder to turn, so I'm going to take only a quarter turn on one side, and I think that will kind of even up the tension on both of them and give me a little bit more lift on the door. By the way, that thing about marking a quarter, marking 1/8 of an inch and then tapping to stretch the spring, I couldn't really do that at all. I tried it and the springs would not move 1/8 of an inch out that way or that way, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, I think I'm there. This is not an insulated door, which would make it heavier, but it's still a pretty heavy double door. So when it's on the closing end, see, it wants to close itself. I'm doing this one-handed now. It makes some noise. Halfway, it stays. See, that's halfway. 2 sections up, 2 sections down. Let's go a little more. Still stays. And then when I get 3 sections up, it almost wants to open itself. I could use maybe 1/4 turn on one side. I'm doing this one-handed, left-handed. I don't know. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I want it to close all the way, and you know, the closing cable, or it's not a chain, it's a, you know, the closing motor, it's going to push it down. So I don't know, I might try this, and then if I think it needs a little more, I might give it another 1/4 turn on one side. It's pretty equal if you count the stripes, and it seemed pretty equal according to how much oomph I had to put on it to make the final twists. So anyway, I am going to lube every single one of those hinges, and there's a lot of them. Look on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 14 if you count the other side, plus 1, 2, 3, 3 more there, 3 more there, 3 more there. So it's like 25 or more little hinges that could probably use oil. And then I'm just gonna call it good, put the motor to it and see what happens. Okay, give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy. Ring the bell if you want notification. And remember, go to that other video first. I'm just giving you little extra tips. Okay, Froggy out. Bye. Just a couple more things. These rails come in sections, so where they come together, you might need to bend these two pieces a little bit or over there to make them even, so that when the rollers roll over it, they roll over smoothly. And one other thing, it was having like a banging noise, and I'm going to tell you how to do this, but I want to finish up the video. You see that? See where the cable feeds onto the roller up there? It's not really centered. The roller is like way over left of where it should be. So watch this now. Watch. Watch the cable. I don't know if you could see it or not, but the cable is jumping over itself. Cable jumping over cable, and it does it on the way up where it's under tension. It doesn't do it so much on the way down. So what I'm going to do is just move that cable guide. See it? You saw the cable jump right there, didn't you? So I'm going to move that cable guide so that the cable feeds more towards where it starts on the guide, and then it'll wind itself around properly. I'm pretty sure that'll fix that. Okay, Froggy out. Okay, this is very, very important, and a lot of potential danger here. All these warnings that say you should have professionals do it. Well, maybe there's something to it. Anyway, back to what I was telling you about the wires were not winding on those cones correctly, okay? And remember I showed it to you on the left side, there was a little jumping, the wire was jumping over the grooves in the cone. So I wanted to adjust that. So I thought I could loosen those spools. I'm going to call them spools, okay? I was going to loosen those spools and just move them and adjust the wire. Well, it turns out that the tension of the springs is through the shaft out to those spools. So those spools and the wires attached to them are under a great deal of tension when the door is down. So I loosened the right side and everything was okay because the left side was holding the tension, and I adjusted it a little bit where I thought it should be, which was basically outwards towards the outer side, and I tightened it up. And then I went and I noticed that the door was, like that a little bit. It wasn't level, only by 3/4 of an inch. So I knew I had to level it. So when our right side is tight, so I loosened the left side because that wire was holding the door up off the ground right in that corner there. You could see some daylight. So I loosened the left side and I moved it. The right side was holding the tension and I moved it, but I didn't tighten it up all the way because I wasn't sure. Basically, I wasn't sure what I was doing. So I left it kind of loose, not totally loose, but a little bit loose. And I went back to the right side because I thought that side was now holding that corner up just a little bit. And I loosened the right side and whammo, everything started unwinding at super speed. The whole tension of both sides of the coils came off. You can see the painted lines are straight now. Scared the CHIT out of me, but no damage was done because everything was contained by all the other hardware. So it was just spinning. There were no rods stuck in anything or screwdrivers or vice grips or anything like that. So now I know what I have to do is I have to place the wires on the spools correctly on both sides, put a little bit of tension on them, I think just with, a pry bar or something, just a little bit of tension so that they have a starting point for tension, they're not loose. Then I'm going to have to rewind the springs, which I've already showed you how to do. But anyway, this is a big heads up, a big warning for you DIY guys. Don't do it the way I did it, okay? Be safe. Froggy out. Bye-bye. Let's go, Brandon. Okay, here's one last look. I checked the balance on the door. I showed you how to do that before. I've got 7 turns on each side, but yours will vary depending on the springs. And let's go up. Oh, I leave the bloopers in there. I forgot to engage after I was balancing the door. Here we go. So the little runner will now go down and it will engage. You see it move in there right in the middle of your screen. Now it will engage. Okay, and now it's closed. And now let's try it out again. Listen to the sound of it too. It should sound pretty smooth. I haven't lubricated any of the 30 or so individual hinges, but I will do that. But now down. See how it stays level? Not like this, not like that, level. Should close nice and level, no gaps. Okay, there you go. I'm going to tell you again, be careful. This is a little tricky-dicky job. And yeah, they wanted $700-800 to come out and do it. And I paid $75 for the springs and I did it myself. So there you go. But I know everybody can't do this themselves. So they're not comfortable up and down the ladders, or they don't have the right tools, or they just don't have the time. So if you got to pay, you got to pay. But there it is. Froggy out. Bye-bye.